The stars shimmered coldly against the void, distant points of light casting faint glimmers over the silent battlefield. The contested sector, once a bustling crossroads of trade and diplomacy, now lay fractured, scarred by decades of conflict between rival alien factions. Ships darted like shadows, and tension hung thick, threatening to ignite into full-scale war at any moment. Amidst this fragile chaos, a new presence emerged. From the depths of hyperspace, a massive warship slid into the sector like a ghost from another world. It was humanity's latest and most formidable creation, the battleship Indomitable. Its sleek hull gleamed with a clean, purposeful design, reflecting Earth's relentless pursuit of innovation and resilience. Captain Elena Ward stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the vast expanse beyond. Her voice was steady, calm amidst the hum of the ship's systems. "All systems nominal. We're entering the contested zone. Maintain maximum alert." The crew moved with quiet efficiency. Years of training had forged them into a disciplined unit, each member aware that their mission would carry consequences far beyond their own lives. "Lieutenant Haru," Elena said, turning to her tactical officer, "have we detected any hostiles nearby?" Haru's fingers danced across the console. "Multiple fleets operating in the area, Captain. They're engaged in low-level skirmishes. No immediate threat to us yet, but sensors show heightened activity. Something feels tense." "Understood. Keep sensors active. We don't want to be surprised." The Indomitable was more than a ship. It was a statement. Humanity's message to the galaxy that it had arrived, not as an observer, but as a force to be reckoned with. The alien factions had grown accustomed to their endless war, each convinced of their own superiority. The arrival of a human battleship was unexpected, an anomaly that rippled through their communication networks like a sudden gust of wind. In a distant command chamber aboard the Varkon Coalition flagship, Commander Talak frowned as the report came in. "A human warship has entered the contested sector," his aide announced. "They call it the Indomitable. Our scouts confirm its size and firepower. It far exceeds anything we anticipated." Talak's eyes narrowed. "They are overstepping. Inform the Council. Prepare a fleet for interception." But even as orders were given, hesitation lingered among his officers. The humans were an unknown variable. Powerful, yes, but unpredictable. Back on the Indomitable, Elena monitored the situation closely. "We're receiving transmissions from multiple factions," she said. "Open a channel. Let's see if we can establish contact before things escalate." The communications officer initiated a broad-spectrum message, transmitting a simple but firm greeting in multiple galactic languages. "This is Captain Elena Ward of the United Earth battleship Indomitable. We come in peace but stand ready to defend our interests." Silence answered. Minutes stretched like hours. Then a response, a voice rough and clipped, carrying the weight of suspicion. "This is Commander Talak of the Varkon Coalition. Your presence is unexpected. State your intentions." Elena met the challenge without hesitation. "Our mission is to observe and protect human colonies in this sector. We seek peaceful coexistence and mutual respect." Talak's reply was curt. "Your fleet is not welcome here. Withdraw or face consequences." The threat hung in the air like a dark cloud. "Captain," Haru warned, "sensors indicate multiple ships moving to intercept. They do not intend to negotiate." Elena's gaze hardened. "Raise shields. Prepare weapons for defensive posture. We will not fire unless fired upon, but we will not be easy prey." The Indomitable's engines flared, executing precise maneuvers to position the ship for maximum advantage. Alien vessels closed in, their weapons arrays glowing ominously. But as the battle lines drew near, the humans remained composed. Their ship's advanced shielding and electronic countermeasures absorbed and deflected the first volleys. Tactical, Systems recalibrated instantly, adapting to enemy patterns. The alien commanders exchanged uneasy glances. Their usual tactics seemed ineffective against this newcomer. The Indomitable was more than a machine. It was a fortress, a symbol of humanity's unyielding will. In the command center, Elena addressed her crew. "Remember what brought us here. We fight not for conquest, but for survival and peace. Stand firm." The bridge crew responded with steady determination. Every shot returned, every evasive move executed, was a testament to human ingenuity and resolve. The battle had just begun, but already one truth was clear. The arrival of the Indomitable had changed the game. The galaxy's visitors, once bold and vocal, now fell silent the moment humanity's battleship entered the battlefield. The space around the Indomitable buzzed with tension, a silent battlefield where every sensor, ping, and flicker of energy was a message in an unspoken war of wills. The alien fleets, once confident and aggressive, now operated with cautious restraint. They had expected an easy target, but humanity's arrival was proving far different. On the bridge, Captain Elena Ward observed the swirling chaos through the panoramic viewport. Clusters of enemy vessels darted across the stars like predators, circling prey, yet none dared to close within lethal range. Their hesitation was palpable, an unspoken respect or perhaps fear growing in the vacuum. Lieutenant Haru's voice broke the momentary quiet. "Captain, our long-range sensors are picking up encrypted communications among the fleets. They're analyzing our ship's capabilities." Elena nodded. "Good. Let them learn quickly. We don't have the luxury of time." Across the sector, in the command center of the Yatari Alliance, Commander Vexus stared at the tactical display. The human's ship was unlike anything in their databases, massive yet agile, heavily armed but defensive in posture. "We underestimated them," Vexus admitted quietly to his officers. "Their technology, their tactics. It's unfamiliar. Our usual intimidation fails." One of his advisors frowned. "Should we consider negotiation? Perhaps we could learn from their strength rather than oppose it." Vexus clenched his jaw. "We are warriors, but even warriors must adapt. Monitor their movements closely. Do not underestimate the humans." Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, the crew maintained vigilance. The battle had shifted from open conflict to a tense stalemate, neither side willing to make the first decisive move. Science Officer Dr. Lena Morales reviewed the incoming data. Streams. "Captain, our sensors detect variations in their weapon systems. They're trying new configurations, likely testing our defenses." Elena considered the report. "Prepare countermeasures. Haru, adjust electronic warfare protocols to disrupt their targeting." "Understood," Haru replied. "Increasing jamming frequency. Will give them headaches if they try to lock on." Suddenly, a new message crackled through the communications console, this time in a tone less hostile, tinged with curiosity. "This is Ambassador Cuthar of the Draxon Syndicate. We observe your vessel with interest. Your tactics are unlike any we have seen. What drives your people to such boldness?" Elena exchanged a glance with her officers. Ambassador Cuthar's message was an opportunity. "Respond, Ambassador," she said. "Humanity's journey has been one of resilience and cooperation. We seek peace, but stand ready to defend ourselves and our allies." There was a brief pause before Cuthar's reply. "Intriguing. We propose a temporary ceasefire to discuss terms and avoid needless bloodshed." The Indomitable's presence was already shifting the balance. Alien commanders, long accustomed to calculated brutality, now found themselves facing a new paradigm. Humans fought with a blend of strategy, empathy, and relentless spirit that defied expectations. Captain Ward knew the path ahead would be difficult. Alliances were fragile, and old prejudices ran deep. But this moment, a pause in battle born from respect, was a foothold. In a private meeting aboard a neutral station, Representatives from various factions debated the human arrival. Some saw opportunity, others threat. "We cannot afford to let them grow," argued General Tharok of the Varkon Coalition. "Their technology could dominate us all." Ambassador Qthar disagreed. "Perhaps they offer a chance to end cycles of violence. We must be wise." Back on the Indomitable, Elena gathered her senior officers. "We've made an impression, but the real test is still to come. We must prepare for both war and diplomacy. Our strength is not just in weapons, but in our willingness to stand firm and open dialogue." Haru leaned forward. "Captain, our crew is ready. We've come this far because we adapt and learn. The galaxy will soon understand what humanity is capable of." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "Then let's make sure they do." As the Indomitable held its position near the contested sector, the alien fleet's silence spoke volumes. The arrival of humanity was no longer a secret. It was a catalyst for change. The galaxy watched, waiting to see if this new force would bring war or a chance for peace, and humanity was ready to prove they were neither to be underestimated nor dismissed. The peaceful pause did not last long. Within days of the tentative ceasefire, intelligence reached Captain Elena Ward of troubling news. A civilian colony on the edge of the contested sector, one of Earth's closest allies, was under sudden and unexpected attack by a rogue faction that rejected the fragile negotiations. Elena stared at the holographic map displaying the colony's location and the rapidly approaching hostile fleet. The colony's defenses were outdated and no match for the raiders' swift assault ships. "Captain, they're moving fast," Lieutenant Haru reported. "If we don't intervene, that settlement will fall." Elena's jaw tightened. "Set course immediately. Maximum speed. We cannot allow innocents to become collateral damage." The crew sprang into action. The Indomitable surged forward through the void, engines humming with purpose. Every officer understood what was at stake. Not just lives, but the fragile reputation humanity had begun to build. As the battleship closed in, the sounds of conflict echoed faintly through communications channels, calls for help, warnings, and the crackle of energy weapons. The colony's population was mostly civilians, engineers, scientists, families. They had hoped the peace talks would keep them safe. Now, desperation painted their messages. "Captain," Haru said grimly, "the attackers have breached the outer perimeter." Elena clenched her fists. "Then it's our turn to stand the line." The Indomitable entered the conflict zone, like a tempest. Alien assault ships swarmed around the colony's orbital defenses, firing relentlessly, but the battleship's presence immediately shifted the battle's momentum. Using precise targeting algorithms, the Indomitable launched coordinated strikes against the attackers. Its weapons were not designed for reckless destruction, but for strategic disablement, crippling enemy ships without unnecessary loss of life. Alien commanders watching from afar blinked in disbelief. The humans fought with discipline and purpose, not fury or chaos. Amidst the chaos, Elena directed the ship with calm intensity. "Deploy drone squads to assist colony defenses. Focus on evacuation routes." Science officer Dr. Lena Morales monitored the energy signatures. "Captain, our shields are holding, but the enemy is adapting quickly. They're trying to overwhelm our point defenses." "Then we'll adapt faster," Elena replied. "Recalibrate targeting sequences, anticipate their moves." The crew worked in seamless harmony. Engineers rerouted power to critical systems. Tactical teams coordinated strikes with surgical precision. Every crew member knew their role and performed it flawlessly. Despite their advanced technology, the alien raiders could not match the Indomitable's combination of innovation and human determination. One by one, their ships were disabled or forced to retreat. In the heat of battle, a distress signal crackled through. A small group of colony ships was trapped near a collapsing space station, surrounded by enemy fighters. "Captain, We need to act now or they'll be lost, Haru urged. Elena didn't hesitate. Prepare the rescue shuttle teams. I'll lead the escort personally. The rescue operation was fraught with danger. Enemy ships swarmed around the fleeing colony vessels, firing to prevent escape. Elena's shuttle weaved through debris and fire, coordinating with the Indomitable's gunners for cover. The human crews showed no fear, their courage unwavering even in the face of overwhelming odds. Hold formation, Elena commanded. We're bringing everyone home. Against all expectations, the rescue was a success. Every civilian ship made it to safety, shielded by the battleship's relentless defense. Back aboard the Indomitable, Elena allowed herself a brief moment of relief, but the weight of responsibility pressed on. This was only a test, she said quietly to her senior officers. They will try again. We must be ready. The news of the Indomitable's defense spread quickly throughout the galaxy. What had started as fear and suspicion transformed into respect and awe. Alien fleets that once dismissed humanity now reconsidered. The humans were not just survivors or opportunists. They were protectors. Their resolve was unwavering, their strategy sound, and their spirit unbreakable. In a rare moment of reflection, Elena stood on the ship's observation deck, gazing at the stars beyond. We came here to show we could defend ourselves, she said softly. But maybe it's more than that. Maybe we're here to remind the galaxy that courage and honor still matter. Behind her, the hum of the ship continued, a steady heartbeat in the vast silence. The test had been passed. But the real challenge, the fight for a place in the galaxy's future, was only beginning. The aftermath of the rescue echoed across the contested sector like a shockwave. Alien fleets, once loud with derision and boasting, now exchanged hushed conversations. Where there had been confident bravado, a heavy silence settled, the kind born of sudden uncertainty. On board the Indomitable, the crew sensed the shift. The bridge was quieter than usual, the usual clatter of commands replaced with focused watchfulness. Captain Elena Ward stood at the center, eyes scanning the star field, mindful of the unseen watchers. "Have we detected any movement from the enemy fleets?" she asked. Lieutenant Haru's fingers danced over the console. "They're holding their positions for now, Captain. No aggressive maneuvers, but sensors indicate a heightened alert status. They're studying us, waiting for our next move." Elena nodded thoughtfully. "Good. Let them watch. We fight smarter, not just harder." Across the sector, alien commanders convened in sealed chambers aboard their command ships. Commander Talak of the Varkon Coalition was unusually silent. During the meeting, his usual fiery temperament subdued. "Your fleets hesitate," one of his advisors noted sharply. "They expected to crush the human vessel with ease." Talak's eyes narrowed. "They underestimated us. But more than that, they underestimated the humans themselves." Another officer scoffed. "What makes you say that? They are still but one ship among many." Talak waved a hand dismissively. "It is not the size, but the resolve. Their captain and crew act with a precision and unity we have not seen in generations. Their ship's technology adapts swiftly, more than any tactical AI we possess." The room grew quiet. Even the fiercest commanders could not ignore the truth. The Indomitable was changing the rules. Back on the Indomitable, Elena met with her senior officers to discuss the recent developments. "Our presence has disrupted the status quo," she said. "The enemy's silence is telling. They respect our strength but fear our unpredictability." Science Officer Dr. Morales nodded. "Our systems are holding up well. The enemy's attempts to probe our defenses have failed repeatedly. They're cautious, unsure of how to counter our strategies." Haru added, "We've observed shifts in their formation patterns, but no coordinated assault. It's as if they're waiting for a signal or direction." Elena's gaze hardened with resolve. Then we must decide how to use this moment. Silence can be a weapon. It buys us time to strengthen our alliances and prepare. The galaxy watched closely. News of the human battleship's defense and tactical prowess spread through galactic channels, inspiring whispered speculation. Some factions admired humanity's courage, others feared what this newfound power might mean. A surprising development came when Ambassador Cuthar of the Draxan Syndicate requested a private meeting with Captain Ward. On board a neutral station orbiting a barren moon, the two leaders met face to face for the first time. Ambassador Cuthar's gaze was sharp, but respectful. Captain Ward, your ship's performance has stunned many. The galaxy is not prepared for a force like yours. Elena smiled faintly. Neither were we once, but humanity has always thrived against the odds. Cuthar's expression softened. Your arrival is a turning point. We can continue with suspicion and war, or we can explore cooperation. The choice is yours. The meeting marked a turning point. More factions, intrigued by humanity's determination and honor, began reaching out. Alliances once thought impossible started to form, tentative yet hopeful. Meanwhile, within the enemy ranks, unease grew. The silence that fell over the fleets was not peace. It was apprehension. "Is this the calm before the storm?" a young officer asked Commander Talak. Talak studied the stars through his viewport. "No, this silence is respect, the recognition that a new player has entered the game, and that player will not be ignored." On the Indomitable, the crew embraced the quiet with a mix of relief and anticipation. Captain Ward addressed her. "Team, this silence is our strength. It means we have made them reconsider their assumptions. But it is not permanent. We must be ready for whatever comes next." The crew's response was a unified, determined nod. The ship hummed quietly through space, a bastion of human spirit amid the cosmic void, and the galaxy held its breath, watching as humanity's presence transformed uncertainty into a powerful silence, one that promised change. The quiet that followed the battle was both a blessing and a burden. The Indomitable drifted through the contested sector, its hull scarred but resilient, while Captain Elena Ward and her crew prepared for the next phase of their mission, one far less certain than open combat. Diplomacy. On the bridge, Elena studied the latest communications from various alien factions. Messages arrived with varying tones, some cordial, some cautious, others laden with veiled threats. "Captain," Lieutenant Haru reported, "Ambassador Cuthar has proposed a summit. Representatives from the major factions are gathering on the neutral station Helios Prime." Elena considered the news carefully. "A chance to build alliances or a trap. Either way, we must attend." Helios Prime was a massive orbital habitat orbiting a blue-green gas giant. Its halls were filled with voices of dozens of species, each carrying their own histories, ambitions, and fears. The Indomitable's crew entered the summit with measured confidence. They represented humanity's strength and spirit, but also their willingness to engage beyond the battlefield. Elena took her place at the Grand Council chamber, where holograms of star maps and fleet positions flickered in the center. Ambassador Cuthar opened the session. "We stand at a crossroads. The arrival of the human battleship has reshaped the power dynamics. The question is whether we use this moment to seek peace or descend further into conflict." Several leaders nodded in agreement, while others remained wary. Commander Talak's voice cut through the room. "Respectfully, the humans have proven their capability, but power alone does not grant trust. Their intentions must be clear." Elena stepped forward. "We seek coexistence. We want to protect our people and our allies, yes, but we also want to learn from you, to share knowledge, resources, and stability. The room buzzed with murmurs. Some factions saw opportunity, others saw threat. In a quieter corner, Ambassador Cuthar confided in Elena. Not all factions will welcome your presence. Some fear change, others envy your technology. Be prepared. For resistance? Elena nodded. We've faced resistance before. It won't be the last. As the summit progressed, smaller meetings unfolded behind closed doors. Negotiations, compromises, and veiled threats wove a complex tapestry of interstellar politics. Back on the Indomitable, Science Officer Dr. Morales and Tactical Officer Haru discussed the implications. The technology exchange proposals are promising, Morales said, but some factions are reluctant to share their advancements fully. Haru grimaced. Trust is a fragile thing in this galaxy. We have to prove ourselves over time. Meanwhile, deep in the shadows of the sector, a coalition of factions skeptical of the humans' intentions began plotting. They viewed the Indomitable not as a harbinger of peace, but as a symbol of dominance. Plans were whispered in secret meetings aboard hidden stations. Sabotage, misinformation, and even assassination were considered tools to undermine humanity's growing influence. Unaware of these plots, Elena focused on building bridges. During a private meeting with the leader of the Aroni Collective, a species known for their wisdom and diplomacy, she learned valuable insights. The galaxy has long been fractured by mistrust, the Aroni elder said. Your arrival has shaken the foundation. The path ahead is difficult, but not impossible. Elena replied, We intend to walk it, no matter the obstacles. As the summit concluded, a tentative agreement was reached. A coalition formed to monitor the contested sector and prevent further violence. It was fragile, a patchwork of promises and watchful eyes, but it was a start. Elena stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable, looking out at the stars beyond Helios Prime. The galaxy was still a dangerous place, filled with shadows and uncertainty, but humanity had taken its first step from the edge of war toward a new dawn. Back in the dark corridors of secret stations, the conspirators moved forward with their plans. The war was not over. It had only changed form. But the Indomitable and its crew were ready, for battle or for peace, because in this vast galaxy, humanity would not be silenced. The tentative peace forged at Helios Prime brought a brief respite, but aboard the Indomitable, Captain Elena Ward remained vigilant. She knew the galaxy was rarely as straightforward as official agreements suggested. Reports had surfaced. Strange anomalies detected near several key trade routes. Communications were intermittently disrupted, and small cargo vessels had vanished, without trace. The signs were subtle, but the pattern was clear. Someone was testing humanity's resolve and the coalition's fragile unity. Captain, sensor logs show increased activity in the shadow sectors, Lieutenant Haru reported during the morning briefing. We're detecting stealth vessels operating at the edges of known space. Elena frowned. Stealth ships? Our scanners should pick them up sooner. They're using advanced cloaking tech. Science Officer Dr. Lena Morales chimed in. That tech is unlike anything we've seen from the coalition factions. It's older, possibly scavenged from pre-galactic war relics. The room grew quiet. Such technology was rare and dangerous in the wrong hands. Elena's thoughts drifted to the secret meetings back at the summit, the whispered plots, the factions wary of humanity's rising influence. Someone doesn't want peace, she said, and they're willing to destabilize the entire region to stop it. Haru tapped a few keys. We've pinpointed a likely staging area, the Reuven asteroid belt. It's a dense, chaotic region, perfect for hiding ships and launching surprise attacks. Elena's jaw tightened. Prepare a reconnaissance mission. We need to find out who's behind this and why. The Indomitable altered course, moving cautiously toward the shadowy asteroid field. Its massive hull slipped silently through the debris, sensors straining to penetrate the clutter. A small squadron of sleek scout ships launched, piloted by some of the fleet's best navigators. As they entered the belt, the scouts transmitted images back. Dark vessels, low on emissions, lurking within the shadows of the massive rocks. Stealth ships confirmed, Haru announced. We're detecting encrypted signals. Someone is coordinating an operation here. Elena considered the implications. Prepare for engagement. We can't allow a hidden enemy to threaten the Coalition's fragile peace. The tension aboard, the Indomitable, was palpable. The crew prepared for what might be a deadly confrontation in the dense asteroid field. Suddenly, a warning blared across the bridge. "Incoming missiles detected!" shouted a weapons officer. "They're launching! From the shadows!" The Indomitable shuddered as the first salvo struck its shields. Explosions rippled across the hull, but the ship's defenses held. "Return fire!" Elena commanded. "Target the launch points! Haru, deploy countermeasures!" The battle in the asteroid belt was fierce and chaotic. The hidden attackers used the terrain expertly, weaving between asteroids and striking from unexpected angles. But the Indomitable's crew was undeterred. Every salvo was met with precise counterattacks, and the ship's advanced sensors quickly adapted to track the elusive foes. As the fight wore on, a breakthrough came. One of the scout ships managed to disable an enemy vessel, revealing its markings, symbols associated with a long-forgotten mercenary group known as the Kilnar. "Mercenaries," muttered Elena. "They've been hired to disrupt peace talks and maintain chaos." The crew understood the stakes. The Kilnar thrived in disorder. Their presence threatened not only the Coalition but humanity's hopes for stability. The Indomitable pressed the attack, hunting down the remaining stealth ships. In a tense final engagement, Elena's tactical team orchestrated a coordinated strike that forced the mercenaries into retreat. The asteroid belt fell silent once more. Back on the bridge, Elena addressed her officers. "We've exposed a dangerous threat. But this isn't the end. The Kilnar are just the tip of the iceberg." Dr. Morales nodded. "Their technology and tactics suggest they have powerful backers. We must remain vigilant." Elena's expression hardened. "Agreed. This fight is far from over." News of the Indomitable's battle spread quickly, reinforcing humanity's reputation as a force to be reckoned with. Across the galaxy, whispers circulated about the human battleship that confronted hidden dangers and refused to back down, and while the Coalition's fragile peace held, the shadows lurking in the corners of space promised new challenges. On the observation deck, Elena stood alone, gazing into the void. "The galaxy isn't ready to welcome us," she said softly. "But we will make it ready." The stars stretched endlessly before her, a battlefield and a beacon. Humanity's journey was far from finished. The victory in the Reuven asteroid belt was a small but crucial triumph. The Indomitable had forced the mercenaries into retreat, but Captain Elena Ward knew it was merely a momentary reprieve. The galaxy was stirring. From the quiet corners of space to the grand halls of power, whispers spoke of a storm building, one that threatened to undo the fragile peace the humans had fought so hard to establish. Back aboard the Indomitable, the mood was tense but determined. The crew worked tirelessly, repairing damage and reinforcing defenses. Every system was scrutinized, every protocol sharpened. Elena stood before her officers in the strategy room. The holographic star map flickered, dotted with faction territories, trade routes and potential hotspots. "The Kilnar mercenaries are just the beginning," Elena began. "They were hired by factions that fear change, those who want to keep the galaxy fractured and weak." Tactical Officer Haru pointed to a cluster of systems near the galactic rim. "We've detected increased fleet movements there, signs of mobilization." Science Officer Morales added, "Energy readings suggest experimental weapon testing. If these weapons come online, they could destabilize entire sectors." Elena's gaze hardened. "We need to act before these weapons are deployed. Gather intelligence. We must understand the full extent of the threat." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, coalition leaders held emergency meetings. Ambassador Thar, visibly concerned, addressed the council. "The human battleship has forced us to reconsider old rivalries," Thar said. "Now, united or not, we face a common enemy seeking to ignite chaos." Commander Talak spoke next. "For all our differences, we must stand together. The alternative is destruction." Despite lingering distrust, a shared urgency brought the factions closer. Plans were laid to form a rapid response task force, a coalition fleet to confront the rising threat. Elena received an urgent message from the coalition command. They wanted the Indomitable to lead the task force. It was an honor and a challenge. "The FOB. Galaxy looks to us now," Elena told her crew. "We carry not just weapons and technology, but hope." Preparations accelerated. Ships from diverse species joined the fleet, some wary, some eager, all bound by a fragile alliance. The Indomitable led the coalition fleet toward the Galactic Rim, where intelligence indicated the enemy's base was hidden among dense nebula, clouds. Navigating through the swirling gases and electromagnetic storms tested every pilot's skill and every sensor's sensitivity. "Visibility is low," Haru reported. "Enemy signatures are masked by the nebula." Elena's voice was steady. "We rely on patience and precision. Probe their defenses carefully." Days turned into tense nights. Scouts uncovered heavily fortified outposts, energy weapons powered by strange reactors, and troops readying for war. But the true challenge was more insidious. Misinformation. Campaigns and cyber attacks targeted the coalition's communications, threatening to fracture the alliance from within. Elena convened her senior officers. "We fight on two fronts, physical and digital. Trust in each other is our strongest weapon." At the enemy's heart, the factions plotting chaos watched the coalition's advance with growing frustration. Their leader, a shadowy figure, known only as Carve, was relentless. "We will shatter their unity," Carve vowed. "We will remind the galaxy why fear rules the stars." The coalition fleet's final approach was met with a barrage of missile strikes and energy blasts. The nebula erupted in flashes of light and explosions as the battle began. The Indomitable's guns roared, cutting through enemy lines with disciplined precision. Human pilots led daring strikes, coordinating with alien allies in a display of combined strength. Amidst the chaos, Elena's calm command held the fleet together, turning potential disaster into a hard-won advantage. As the battle raged, Elena realized this fight was about more than territory or power. It was a test of unity and resolve. The storm was here, and humanity stood at the eye. "We fight not just for ourselves," Elena broadcast to the fleet, "but for every life that hopes for peace." The Indomitable pressed onward, a beacon of resilience and courage amid the gathering storm. And though the galaxy trembled, the human spirit burned brighter than ever. The battle in the swirling nebula had pushed every member of the coalition fleet to their limits. The Indomitable, battered but unbowed, pressed forward with unwavering resolve. Captain Elena Ward stood firm on the bridge, her eyes sharp, her mind focused. The enemy forces were formidable, entrenched within the maze of gas and shadow. Yet, the unity forged between the humans and their alien allies was stronger than any weapon arrayed against them. The fight was fierce and unrelenting. Missiles tore through the void, energy beams lit up the nebula's dark clouds, and war cries echoed across comm channels. Amid the chaos, Elena's voice cut clearly through the storm. "Hold formation. Support the flanks. Remember, we fight together." Her command was met with disciplined precision. The coalition ships responded in flawless coordination, exploiting weaknesses in the enemy lines. Deep within the enemy base, Carve's frustration grew. His plans to sow discord had failed. His forces were bleeding, outmatched not just by technology, but by spirit. A desperate message crackled over his comm. The coalition was breaching the inner defenses. Carve's voice was cold. Prepare the final defenses. If we fall, we take them with us. Outside, the Indomitable led the charge into the heart of the enemy stronghold. Elena's tactical team identified critical reactor cores powering the enemy's weapons. We take out those cores, and their firepower will collapse, Haru reported. Elena nodded. Then that's our objective. Strike hard and fast. The Indomitable's assault team, alongside elite coalition forces, executed a daring operation to disable the reactors. The fighting was brutal, every corridor a battleground, every inch a hard-won victory, yet through courage and tenacity, they succeeded. One by one, the enemy's weapons fell silent. With their firepower diminished, the enemy fleet's morale shattered. Ships began retreating, some surrendering, others fleeing into the depths of the nebula. Elena ordered a ceasefire broadcast across the sector. This battle ends now. Lay down your arms. The galaxy offers peace. Carve, defeated but defiant, sent a final message. This is not over. The shadows will return. Elena replied calmly. Then we will be ready. Because together, we are stronger than fear. The victory marked more than a military success. It was the dawn of a new era. The coalition, once fractured by suspicion and rivalry, now stood united. Humanity's role as a catalyst for change was undeniable. Back aboard the Indomitable, the crew celebrated quietly. They had faced darkness and emerged into light. Elena addressed them. We've proven that strength isn't just in weapons, but in trust, resilience, and hope. Her words resonated deeply. The battles had tested their spirit and forged a bond between species that would endure. In the weeks that followed, new treaties were signed. Trade routes reopened. Cultural exchanges blossomed. The galaxy, once on the brink of chaos, moved toward cooperation and understanding. Ambassador Q. Thar, speaking at a historic gathering, praised humanity's courage. They arrived as strangers, but now they are pillars of our future. Elena gazed out at the stars from the Indomitable's observation deck. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but it was also full of promise. The warship that had once been feared was now a symbol, not of destruction, but of hope. The galaxy's balance has shifted, Elena whispered, not because we conquered it, but because we chose to stand with it. The stars shimmered, silent witnesses to humanity's journey, a journey of strength, unity, and an unyielding belief in a better tomorrow. And so, as the Indomitable sailed onward through the cosmic sea, the galaxy breathed a new breath, one of peace, possibility, and the enduring spirit of humanity.